We are live and active today. Now, as usual, my weekly live video, the question and answer cycle. So we'll wait a little bit for people to come in, and then we'll get into it as usual. Pen in my pocket. Let's see. Well, I don't see anyone in here yet, so we'll wait a little bit longer, and then we'll get to it. All right, so I don't see anyone in here yet, so we're just gonna go ahead and get into it, so you guys can catch it after we are live. So I know a lot of people like to watch these videos after they've actually been live. So once we're done, like I said, it'll be posted, it'll be live, it'll be out there. So we're gonna get into the usual question and answers thing that we do at the end of every week. Basically, what it is if you guys haven't been here, what I do is at the end of the week, I'm thinking I'm going to make it every Saturday. Is what I do is I go online and I look at my comments throughout the week and stuff like that. I try to keep up with them and stuff like that. Then I choose 5 questions or comments that came up in the videos for the week or whatever popped up within that week. So it could be a video from 4 or 5 years ago. And then I answer it here live. All right. And that's how I do it. I do have 2 people in here now, so go ahead and give a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Go let people know that I'm out there. So we are going to get started. Actually, can you guys hear me all right? So I like using the earbuds. It kind of takes all the other noise in my house out. So, all right. So if you're in there, just give me a shout out. Say hello, how's it going, or whatever it is. Like I said, this is a live video, so I'm here for you guys. All right, so what we're gonna do is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I chose 5 questions or comments that were pretty good. Most of there was a couple more comments. I've been getting a lot more trolls lately. Go figure. Don't know how that works, but that's all right. I just delete those. Oh, thanks, Bill. I'm glad you can hear me all right. So I know I got one person in here, so Bill's in here. We're good to go. So we are going to jump into it. The volume is great. Cool, B. I'm glad. So rise above. How's it going? It's going good. It's going good. So we are going to get started. So new subscriber here. Love the channel. Hey, thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. So I love you guys. That's why I keep coming back to do these videos for you. So we're going to go over these 5 things. So we're going to start with, this is actually a much older video. Like I said, these are comments for this past week, and this is from an older video, but it came up in this week. So this is from Caleb Harrow. And this is my video, How to Clean a 1911. So I think this is a really good question. So I'm just going to address it. I'm going to do the first one. I'm going to address it. So just brought the exact gun that I have, which is Rock Island Army 1911, the Cerakote Brown one, and am wondering when I should first clean it. Fired 46 shots after buying it and taking it out of the oil bag. You say I should break it in, so should I not clean it until about 200 shots? Okay, so there's a couple things I want to bring up into that. So one, if you guys have never bought a Rock Island Armory, he said it came out of an oil bag. Okay, it's ridiculous. Okay, when you get a gun from Rock Island Armory at 1911 from Rock Island Armory, you open the box, you pull it out, and it is literally like rolled up in this bag, and it's like oozing and dripping with like oil. You're like, oh man, it's like really nasty oil. It's like a film all over it. And you got to wipe it off and stuff. It's just pretty nasty. And then I don't know why, but that's just why they ship them, or that's how they ship them. But that's what I mean by pulling it out of the oil bag. So it comes down to this. When it comes to any gun whatsoever, before I carry it, what I do with all of my guns is I want to fire a minimum of 200 to 300 rounds. Right now, with the ammo shortage, 200 it should do. But I prefer about 300 rounds I like to put through each one of my guns before I actually carry it, because every gun works a little bit differently, it shoots a little bit differently, and it functions differently with different ammunition. So what I always do is always break it in just so I get a feel for it and how I shoot it, and I try to find the right ammunition that I use. I usually use 2 types of ammunition when it comes to carry ammunition to find which one works best for the gun and for me. That's what I do when it comes to the gun. Now, when it comes to a 1911, it is based on older technology. They're machined very tightly. Oh, excuse me. They're machined very tightly, and they are not always hand fitted, especially the ones that you get nowadays. So what you need to do is I recommend doing at least about a 500 round break-in period when it comes to a 1911. I know that sounds like a lot, but there's ways to kind of rush up the process of it. Now, there's theories that people say that when it comes to the 1911 break-in period, that if you don't oil it, it will break in faster because you don't have the lube on the metal parts, so there's going to be more friction and it's going to break in. I don't know if that's true. I'm not a scientist, but me, when it comes to any guns, regardless of what it is, even except the Rock Island because it was literally oozing and gooing and oil, I literally lube up every single gun before I take it out to the range. Every time I'm about to go to the range, if I just check it, make sure it's not, I don't want to make sure it's not dry, and I get in there and I lube up the metal and metal parts. I lube up the springs. I didn't make sure there's no excess stuff just splashing all around and stuff like that. And then I lube it up. Now, some people, like I said, they do say that for a 1911, it's better to do it when it's dry. Me, I always look at it, it's designed to be, basically, it's designed to be lubed. Basically, it's designed to be lubed, so I want it to break in the right way. So me, I lube it up. But what I also do when I lube it up is at that night after I've taken it out to the range, it might take an entire weekend for me to actually shoot that many rounds, or it might take a couple of weeks or even a month depending on what the ammo shortage and stuff like that. What I do at the nights when my kids are asleep and stuff like that, I'll put on a movie or something like that, make sure it's completely cleared, pointing in a safe direction, and I sit there racking the slide, just rack. And I do full-fledged racks. I do full-fledged racks, just running it through the cycles. And I don't know how many times I've done it, and I've probably done it thousands of times in a night when I do it. All I know is that when I first got that gun, even after like 1,200 rounds and with the thousands of racking I didn't have a single issue with that gun. So that's how I do it with the 1911s. There's various methods. You can do it dry if you want. Too much lube is almost enough. When it comes to 1911s, you just got to lube it up. I mean, it's like an AR-15. You got to keep the bolt carrier group AR-15 lubed nonstop. So when it comes to 1911s, lube the damn thing up and shoot it. All right, that's the best way to do it. I don't know if the dryness will be worse or it'll do damage to the gun. So me, I just recommend lubing it and just put it through the process and shooting it. All right, so that's for Caleb. All right. So I'm looking at, I got 10 people in there and I only got 3 thumbs up. How about we get 10 thumbs up to match with those 10 people? That would be nice, right? Anyway, so we're moving on. So the next, this is actually a comment. There you go. There's a thumbs up coming. This is actually a comment on, once again, this is an older video. This is a video I did years ago. This is from Pedro Basio. I think that's how you say it. Pedro Basio. This is on my video of bolt action rifles for survival, WROL, without rule of law, or SHTF, shit hits the fan, just hit the fan, right? So this is what he commented, and I like this comment. There's a lot to be said about SHTF and feared and feared from a populace armed and trained with bolt guns. I considered a hunter that has stalked, shot, and killed much better suited for combat of any kind than someone that just bought an AR 10,000 rounds that are sitting in the closet and shoots paper and steel targets on the weekends. So I want to address this. There's a couple things on it because I'm not like pro one way or the other when it comes to different guns. So basically anyone can have a gun. Anyone can own a gun. Could be a semi-automatic, could be a bolt-action gun. Anyone could own a ton of ammo, just like he's saying. You could own a ton of ammo. You can shoot paper targets all day long. That doesn't mean you're going to be effective in a combat situation, especially if you go with the modern day teachings. You're not going to be the most effective in a combat situation. And it's not like Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I'm a gamer. It's not like Call of Duty Modern Warfare where you can bunny hop and skip across an open field and slide and hide under things and just unload at full automatic from 300 yards away and manage to get a target. That's not how it works in real life. Basically speaking, when it comes to a combat situation, this is combat, all right? Without rule of law, shit's a fan, whatever you want to say to it. What we use suppressive fire. We use suppressive fire on a target so you can move to an objective. That's how you use it in the military. That's a good way to move under any type of combat situations. You want to put suppressive fire onto the target, whether they're behind a wall or something like that, so they hide, and then you move on to the objective. Now, what's even better is very accurate suppressive fire that actually hits the person, that's shooting at you. That's even better than just straight up suppressive fire because it won't just keep their head down, it will make their head stay down. So When it comes to bolt action or semi-automatic, there are great guns either way. When it comes to accuracy, you have to have accuracy for either one of them to be effective in a combat situation. Now, I'm no sniper. I was a rifleman. I carried a 203 grenade launcher. M203 was based on my M16A2 as I mounted on the bottom. That was technically my primary, and my backup was the 5.56 Dato that was on top of it. But when it comes to like WROL and stuff like that, when it comes to hunters, okay, hunters are guys that have been out in the field for who knows how long, how many years. They know how to deal with the hardships of being out in the survival. They know they have that patience to wait, to stalk, to find fieldcraft. That's right. Fieldcraft is very important of training in his situation awareness and accuracy. That's right. So you need to have more than just shooting skills. You have to have more than just, oh, I have a gun and I can shoot really fast on a target and I will be great. You need more than just that, okay, to survive a combat situation like that. You have to have tactics. I remember Emerson, if you made a weak coolest tool you've ever seen. I've seen a lot of tools, man. I don't know what you're gonna read about coolest tool, but basically, I'd say Mark 19. That was the coolest tool I've ever seen. Well, basically, I'll get back into it. When it comes to a bolt action rifle for hunters, one of the primary weapon for a hunter is a bolt action rifle. There's a couple of really good things about bolt action rifles. Now we're talking WROL SHTF. Bolt action rifles has minimal parts. All right, so it's very, very easy to maintain, like insanely easy to maintain. So it's very easy to maintain. Two, they're inherently more accurate than your average semi-automatic rifle. The reason behind that is one, you have to have more patience with it. Two, they usually have a lot better trigger in them. And three, it is a bolt. It's just a single bolt that's moving and putting it into a barrel. How's it going, George Washington? Whereas a semi-automatic, there's a lot of springs, there's a lot of moving parts that are into it, and there's a lot of bright vibrations and whatnot. Now, you can be accurate with either a bolt action or a semi-automatic, but it just is proven over time. There's a reason why most snipers, like full-fledged snipers, when they're out in the field, their primary rifle that they use for a sniper operation is a bolt action rifle because it is more accurate. All right, it's much more accurate, and like I said, it's easier to maintain, and it is a usually has a really good caliber in it. So like a 308, for example, that's my favorite. My bolt action rifle is a 308 rifle. I love the 308 caliber. 30-06 is another great caliber. Basically, the 30-06 and 308 is basically the same size projectile, just the shells are a little bit different and stuff like that. So quote me if I'm wrong. So 308 is a great caliber. It will drop any two-legged or four-legged animal in the entire northern hemisphere, pretty much, right? Pretty much just about any two to four-legged animal, it will pretty much drop, especially with the right ammunition, all right? Because there's a lot of force behind it. It also has a lot of range behind it if you have really good marksmanship. Now, if you have like a match grade barrel and stuff like that, then obviously it's going to change that a little bit. It change that a lot, all right? I say a little, it's going to change that a lot. But just even your average hunting rifle in the hands of someone that is very trained, that's been using it for a long time, usually like a hunter, usually has to make very precise shots. So in a combat situation, I would rather have someone that has been shooting a bolt action rifle for a very long time as someone that's on my backup, because I know for a fact that they would be able to have those long range shots. Now, if it comes to a hunter, when it comes to a hunter, they know how to stalk, they know how to blend in, they know bushcraft, they know how to survive out there. So there's a lot more skill sets that come with a hunter. So yes, a hunter is a lot better in a combat situation than someone that just has a rifle and thousands of rounds and that shoots targets on a daily basis. Anyone can look cool at a range and have all kinds of rounds and shoot like crazy on a target, but can you stalk? Can you blend in? Can you suffer? That's part of it. You gotta endure the suck is the nickname. But can you suffer out there in the field to make that shot? All right. So yes, a person with a bolt action rifle, a hunter, they are definitely far better suited for combat. Now, I'm not saying that if you're not a hunter, you're not going to be good. There's plenty of people that you get the training through the military and stuff like that that are good. But I can tell you this, excuse me, in my unit, the best riflemen that we had when it comes to like the designated marksmen and stuff like that, they were hunters. All right, they were the designated marksmen are usually hunters, right? And they primarily used a bolt action rifle as a hunter. So we give them the best optic that we have out there and everything else, and we expect them to get the mid-range shot. So you're talking 600 yards and farther out. All right. So anyway, embracing the suck. That's what it is. If you guys don't know what it is, oh man, it's you. Then you don't know what being in the field's like. All right. But you have to be able to maintain that. All right. So I covered a lot of that. So I just thought that was a good comment. All right, so I wanted to address it. Now another one. The next one I'm going to go to is this is from Arizona Man. So that's my man. You know, I was an Arizona man too. So then I came back out to Connecticut. All right, so Arizona Man. Let's see. This is about my the recent video I did on tips for carrying a full size firearm in 2021. My voice is all weird today. So, all right. So great video, Matt. People need to remember carrying a firearm is not meant to be comfortable. It's made to be comfortable. So I think what he was actually trying to say, I think there's autocorrect in there. And I'm a big fan of this saying too. So carrying a gun as a concealed carry gun, it's not supposed to be comfortable. Okay. It's supposed to be comforting. Okay. So you are more comfortable with it. All right. And if you have competence with that firearm, then you're going to be much more comfortable with it. There's no such thing as a comfortable gun. It doesn't matter what holster you put it in, there's going to be some discomfort when carrying a firearm. So, yes, like you said, holsters and guns are not meant to be comfortable. All right, they're supposed to be comforting. Okay, so in a bad situation, you have that available at your side that you can defend yourself, you can defend your family, you can help fight off an invasion if you need to. You can fight against tyranny with having a gun, and if you're confident with the gun, it gives that confidence with that firearm. But when it comes down to it, I also throw it in there too. It's not all about the gun. You gotta have a good mindset when it comes into it too. You have to have a good mindset. Just because you have a gun doesn't mean you're better than everyone else. All right. Just because you have a gun means you have to be better than everyone else. What I mean by that is you have to be kinder, you have to be more polite, you have to avoid any type of bad situations. You will not have road rage. You should not be having road rage incidents, right? That's what, when you're owning a gun, you need to be the best citizen that you possibly can be, because if something does happen and it forces you to pull out your firearm, you're going to be in a lot of scrutiny in the court of law, all right? And they're going to pick apart every single thing that you did on that situation when you had to pull the gun. So be the most polite person that you can. Try to avoid the situations if you can. Observe and identify a threat before you have to draw your gun and engage a threat. All right. Now, not every single situation is going to be the same, but your mind is more important than having the actual gun yourself. Okay. So it's a mix between your mind, your marksmanship, and the firearm that's on your body. But your decision making is what you need to focus on. All right. So that was from Arizona Man. Now we're moving on to, okay, I'm going to butcher this name. Sorry. Kirk Rasik. I think it's Rasik. It's like Rassils. I don't know. Maybe it's my own writing was pretty bad. I had a little too much coffee this evening, so maybe that's what it is. But basically, this is a good question. I actually do get this question a lot. And it's if you guys know calibers and stuff like that, 10 millimeter has become very popular in the past few years. But basically, his question is this: what are your thoughts on 10 millimeter handgun for everyday carry? All right, so I do have some thoughts on this. All right, so if you guys don't know, the history of the 10 millimeter. Okay, it's a nice little interesting history. There were some shootouts back in the day, a long time ago, which that the guns that they were using, 9 millimeters, 38 specials, weren't doing very good. They weren't working very well. They weren't stopping suspects, and they were fatal injuries. But the suspect who was shooting at them or shooting at the police didn't actually go down, so they were all doped up and drugged up. If you look at that what South LA, I believe it was, shooting stuff like that. I think both the guys were shooting the double digits how many times they were shot, and they just kept fighting and fighting and fighting and shooting back. Well, FBI, law enforcement, and stuff like that, they came up with the idea. Okay, that there was like, okay, they took a look at it, like all these calibers, we were hitting with 9 millimeter, we were hitting with 38s, and these are older shootings and stuff like this, 60s, 70s, and whatnot. So, and what we're learning from this is when we shoot them with these smaller calibers, just because they're fatally injured, because they are fatally injured, doesn't mean that they're out of the fight. So they're looking for a new caliber that would work better and stop someone a lot faster. So they created the 10 millimeter cartridge. The 10 millimeter cartridge is a powerful, hard punching target. But the kicker is it's a powerful, hard punching target that's hard to handle for someone that, you know, isn't strong enough, or the weaks or the wrists are weak, or they don't have good marksmanship or something like that. Even someone with good marksmanship, they could be struggling with a 10 millimeter handgun. So they were using 10 millimeters for a while, but then they started realizing that basically started realizing, no, I don't use STIs. I don't use them, Red Zen. But basically, is what they were learning is that through the conflicts and through the qualifications, people just couldn't handle the 10 millimeter very well. Now, a 10 millimeter, I'm not a ballistics genius, but I've done a lot of videos on it, and it's stronger than the 357 Magnum, depending on the load, because there's a lot of different loads for a 357 Magnum, but it's stronger than a 357 Magnum. And if some people even said it's like the 41 Magnum range. Now, 44 Magnum is insane when it comes to power, so 10 millimeter is pretty darn close to coming to that. So my thoughts on a 10 millimeter. Does it work? Absolutely. That is a hardcore cartridge. It is a hardcore cartridge that will punch through a lot and does a lot of damage on the inside. There was an article I read in one of the NRA magazines. I get the Rifleman magazine. I don't know, a couple of years ago. I think the guy had was it a Glock 20? I believe that's what it is. The Glock 20 is a 10 millimeter. Quote me if I'm wrong. He was out hunting. He was a rancher. Actually, no, he was a rancher or something like that. And he was out hunting on his property. Or no, I don't remember the exact story, but he was basically a rancher. He's out on his property and he carried the Glock 20 on his hip. That was the 10 millimeter. And he was attacked by a grizzly bear. Out of nowhere, he was attacked by a grizzly bear. So he didn't have much time to react. So he pulled a 10 millimeter out and he started shooting it basically at point blank range while he's rolling down this hill, and this bear is pretty much attached to him, is biting down on him and stuff like that. Hoorah, Tyler. And they were rolling down the hill. This grizzly bear is literally attached to this guy's, I don't know if it's his arms or his leg. And the guy is sitting there shooting his 10 millimeter, unloading the thing as much as he can at this grizzly bear. And then he got it so close, it's semi-automatic, that there was actual malfunction. So he managed to be able to clear it while he's rolling down this hill. Then he finally gets down to the bottom of the hill, puts a couple more shots in the bear's head, and the bear dies when it comes to a 10 millimeter. When help arrived, they literally had to pry the bear off the guy's leg, and they couldn't pry it, so they had to cut it. You know, I'll probably get demonetized now I'm talking about it. They had to detach the bear's head from the guy's leg because it was pretty crazy. Because it was just grizzly bears are brutal. Now, a 10 millimeter. When I see a 10 millimeter, what I look for a 10 millimeter, what would I carry a 10 millimeter for? If I was a hunter, all right, if I was a hunter out here, we don't have grizzly bears out here. We have black bears out here, and brown bears, which is pretty much a black bear, just slightly bigger and brown. I don't know how that works, but that's how it works. But and I get bears all in my backyard all the time. If I was out hunting, the minimum cartridge I would take with me for a sidearm would be a 357 Magnum. But or if I wanted to go semi-automatic, I would go with a 10 millimeter. Now, the ideal for me would be a 44 Magnum. That's what I'd rather have in a situation like that, because I know that it's got some serious penetration and hard hit. But a 10 millimeter is short of a 44 Magnum when it comes down to it. Now, my thoughts on a 10 millimeter in EDC is go for it, rock it if you can rock it, if you can shoot it effectively. You carry that thing. But for me, I wouldn't carry it unless I was a hunter out in the middle of the woods, and I was going to be sitting in a tree stand somewhere or something like that, and I knew there's going to be some, you know, dangerous game out there, and I wanted to have something on my hip that wasn't my rifle or shotgun that I could get to really quickly and do some damage. 10 millimeter isn't perfect when it comes to a situation like that, but it'll work perfectly fine for two-legged critters if you catch my drift. But when it comes to four-legged critters, I think it's more of a four-legged critter caliber than anything else. But that's just my own personal opinion, guys. Say how you want on it, but that's just where I stand on that. Like I said, a 10 millimeter is an awesome cartridge, really expensive cartridge. But for me, it's more of an outdoor cartridge that I would have. When it comes to me, I usually carry a 9 millimeter. Or 45 is pretty much what I carry. And if I'm in like my, beach day, it's a 38 plus P. All right, that's what I usually carry on a daily basis. I can't carry 12 gauge slugs all over the place or my 308 everywhere. So we get out, shout out Crystal from AZ. It's her birthday. Hey, congratulations, Christy. Hey, Arizona man, good to see that you're in here. So give her a shout out to his girlfriend over there. So you are good to go. Happy birthday out there. All right. Now we're moving on to the final fifth question that I went over. And this was actually one that was kind of interesting, and I addressed it to him, but I'll bring it up here too. Basically said, Red Zen is what he asked. This was I believe it was my last live video that I did, towards the end of it when it went live. He says, I thought you were in the USMC. Because if you look behind me, You'll notice my fishing poles are in the way. I have this bag here that says U.S. Army, all right, and stamp last name. That's have my moto flags that I have on that. But if you notice up there, Suicide Charlie, 1st Battalion, 7th Marine, Suicide Charlie. So the question, I thought you were in the Marines. Yes. Was I in the Army too? Yes. All right. So I did 4 years in the Marine Corps as an 0311 rifleman. Did 2 tours in Iraq. I was active duty. And then a couple of years after I got out of the Marine Corps, I decided to join the Arizona Army National Guard. I was out, we were stationed out in Prescott, Arizona, and I was an 11 Bravo rifleman up there as well. And I did that for a couple of years because I had that issues, PTSD, and all that other stuff caught up to me when from my times in service, and they medical discharged me from the Arizona Army National Guard because I was having a bad time. I didn't have treatment at that time and stuff like that, and I have a pretty bad case. It's been years. I got out of the Marine Corps in 2006, and I got out of the Arizona Army National Guard in 2012 is when I got out of the Arizona Army National Guard. Heck, I still have my ACUs down here from the crappy camo pattern that on it. I have the ACUs down here. Next to that, I have my Desert Marpats. So yes, I was in the Marine Corps and I was in the Arizona Army National Guard as well. So I did a couple things in the National Guard. When I first got there, I was just straight up 11 Bravo. They first started me out with a machine gun team, and because I was a big dude, I've always been kind of a bigger dude. They gave me the tripod, so I'd have to carry the tripod, and I'd set the tripod up, so they'd set the 240 up. Now, for me, that was weird because if you guys know any difference between the Marine Corps and the Army, infantry is a little bit different. So in the Marine Corps, I'm an 0311. All right, that was my MOS. But there's several infantry MOSs. There's 0311. There's 03. What's up, Ghost Man? So 0311. There's 0331, 0341. 0351 and 0352 are the standard infantry stuff. So 0311 is the rifleman. We call that the jack of all trades. That's what I did. The 0331 was the machine gunner. So they're your primary machine gun teams. They carried a 240s with a tripod, and they had a team leader and stuff like that too, with a rifle. They have the 0341s. There was the mortarmen. The mortarmen carried the which was the 81s. They carried the 81 millimeter and the 60 is what they carried. They primarily carried the 60s, but they had the 81s that were with them too. And then you have the 0352s. Okay, no, the 03, yeah, let's see. Hold on, I got lost there for a second. So the 0341s. Then you have the 0351, yeah, the 0350, yeah, 0351s were the assaultmen, if I remember it right, were the assaultmen. So they carried what's called a SMAW, SMAW, a small rocket, and their gunner actually had the small rocket that actually has this long. I mean, it's like a long 9 millimeter cartridge. That's a massive tracer round that's on the side of it too, and they do that, and you actually screw rockets into the back of it. And they have a variety type of rockets. They'd screw rockets into the back of it. They'd aim up at a target. They'd switch over to that 9 millimeter, which was marking the target, marking the trajectory of the rocket, which is 84 millimeter rocket, and then they'd shoot the round after the shell. After that is how they shoot it. But the assaultmen, 0351s, were also the demo guys. So if we needed to make a door breach, what they needed to make, how's it going, Mateo? So if they needed to make a water charge or a donut charge or something like that, it's like taking deck cord on a door and stuff like that. That's what they would do. If they needed C4 or anything like that, was Mag, the same name, Massimio or Massimo. There you go. I'm horrible name, guys. So the 51s, they would make all the breaches and stuff like that. Now the 0352s was different. Those are like the heavy machine gunners. So those were the dudes that were on top of the Humvees with the 50 cals, the Mod Deuces or the Mark 19s or the TOWs. So technically they're called the tow gunners. The 0352 is a tow gunner. What a tow gun is, if you guys don't know what a tow gun is, it's a massive rocket with all kinds of thermal optics and stuff like that that's actually attached to a wire. So when the rocket fires, there's actually a wire that goes out with it, and they actually control the trajectory of the wire through the best they can with that wire. And that's what the tow gunners are. Now the tow gunners, 0352s, out when I was over in Iraq during second tour too. They're part of what's called CAT teams. Okay, so what a CAT team is, that's not CAT, it's like CAAT, I believe it was. I remember the exact designation for it. Is basically they were tank busters. They travel in teams of Humvees with tow guns, heavy machine guns, and medium machine guns. So it was a mix of 0331s and 0352s that were in there. So You're sight to see the wire spool out as it goes. It is. It's pretty cool, Mateo. So, and I mean, that thing's just cool in general. The toe is cool. And we've seen the fails too. So he'll shoot some, we're like, oh, cray, that thing went a little short there. It happens. It happens. But at the same time, sometimes if they really need to get out there, they'll fire the toe at it. It's a funky looking, just look up a tow missile online and Google it, and you'll a mounted Humvee mounted tow missile, and you'll see what it looks like. But that's what the O352s do. They're part of the CAT teams that go out and look for tanks and heavy vehicles and blow them up with their tow guns and put suppressive fire with their heavy machine guns and medium machine guns. So, you ever see a line charge about as interesting? Those are pretty cool. I didn't actually see them mount it. What we did is, I believe it was Range 400. I believe it was Range 400. I was in 29 Palms, California. It's one of the largest ranges in the Marine Corps. I don't know if it's in all branches, but it's massive. And you have everyone, the mortarmen and machine gunners, all working together on it. It's a big range. They have a massive minefield that they set up before you go to it. So your introduction to Range 400 is they shoot one of those things that go across. It's like this. I wasn't at a place where I could see it go across, but they shoot this pod across, or I don't know what it's called. It lands on the mines and blows up, and all of them, boom. It was crazy because when I did Range 400, I think I did Range 400 a couple times. The first time I did it, it caught me off guard. It was the largest range I'd ever done. And my sergeant is looking at us all, and he's like, okay. He's like, every one of you, they're like, freaking put your fingers in your ears. We all had, how's it going, George? We all put our fingers in our ears. I had everyone put their fingers in their ears, or no, our sergeant had everyone put their fingers in their ears, open their mouth up as large as they could. And then when they opened their mouth up as large as they could, they said, don't close your mouth. And then they do a countdown. They're like, don't close your mouth. Keep your fingers closed. So you're sitting there going, and you're like, why the heck are we doing this? They shoot that thing across, and the explosion is so loud that you could feel it like shock through your body. And they said, literally, if your mouth is closed, it can knock you unconscious. So, so that was pretty cool. Range 400 was pretty cool. All right. So that came to those questions. That was an interesting question. So we are here. We're doing the live video. So if you have anyone else, okay, that would like to talk, come and talk, guy. All right. Here we are, a live video. So. All right, so we got anyone in here that want to ask a question? I am here. I think I got a moderator in here. If you guys could jump in there too, if you guys see what's going on. Anyone have any questions or anything like that, or any comments? This is a live video, guys. Talk about whatever you want. It doesn't have to be gun stuff. Can we do anything else? Love the chest rattle from when those goes off. How you been? You in your health these days? Yeah, man, those are funny. Those things are crazy. I mean, literally the ground shakes when those things go off. Like you see the rocks jump. You're like, holy crap! That thing was so loud. It was pretty ridiculous. When we did Range 400, that was just pretty crazy. Now the biggest explosion that I was actually part of, part of, is we had taken Saddam's son's palace. Now Moab, those are cool. I've never seen one in person. That would be cool. I would love to see one of those. They say they make a mushroom cloud. I haven't seen one in person. But we took Saddam's son's palace back in the push across Iraq. And we went in there, and after we were done, what we were looking for is we were looking for underground bunkers. There was all these bunkers. There was rumors that there was bunkers underneath of the basements that would lead to like those, and we knew there was going to be HVTs down there, so HVT is a high value target. So we searched this massive mansion, all right, and then after we have to search this massive, hold on, did you enter spring captures? No, I have not, Blue Falcon. So, and after we searched through the entire building, which took it like hours because the building was so massive, what we did from there is we went down underneath and had to search for any of those, passages. Now, when we were down there, there was all kinds of fancy crystal and diamond ware and artwork and stuff like that too, but we couldn't find a bunker entrance. So our 51s came down there, and the company commander said, blow it. Below the basement. So they put 200 pounds of C4 in the basement of Saddam's son's palace. I don't remember which son it was. I think it was Uday or Qudi. I don't remember which one it was. So 200 pounds of C4 because we had a lot of it. And I remember just a picture of it is like something you saw from a movie. We're outside. We're outside the building in a safe area, what they said would be the safe area. And they were out there, and all of a sudden, we're all sitting there. I'm on my 203, and we're looking. I'm doing my security, and my sergeant comes running out. Sergeant Soltis, he comes running out, like, "Oh, fucking shit!" And he runs behind a massive pillar. And he just does this, and we're doing the count. We're like, "Oh shit!" We're like, "Oh!" You could feel the ground like bounce. It was nuts. It was just absolute nuts. The ground was freaking crazy. There was dust flying all over the place. We're like, "Holy crap!" That was pretty cool. I remember I couldn't hear much afterwards, but that was pretty cool. I mean, even with your mouth, we did the whole open your mouth. You're like, "Oh crap!" But it was just like such a massive blast. You're like, "That's awesome." So, but the crazy thing is the building was still standing. So we're definitely no demolition experts when it comes to bringing it down. But if anything was down there, it's not going to be down there much longer. So that was a very interesting day. So, all right. So we have any questions in here? All right. Any questions? Like I said, bring them in here. I'll talk. I know sometimes when I talk, I don't see it. I'm doing this on my phone. I only see like one question or two questions that come up and down over here. So go ahead and I will pay attention to you guys if you have any specific questions. Go on. I saw something about a Glock. Was it a 10 millimeter or something like that? I can't scroll back, so if you want to go ahead and copy and paste that again or whatever it is, I'll answer it the best that I can. Let's see. We're doing pretty good today, so we got a decent amount of people in here today. Let's see. Have any of those questions coming? I'm looking. I'm looking. Oh, man. I feel weird just sitting here staring at the camera looking for questions to come across. Like, am I talking to anybody? No. Let's see. Well, if I don't have any questions coming across, we're going to start calling it a day. All right. So I'll give you guys another minute or so. And if you don't have any more questions for the night, then we're going to call it a night. So, oh, I appreciate it. Driver Joe Long Hauler. I appreciate it there, man. So I appreciate the vote of confidence. So if we don't have any questions, we're going to call it a day. So if you have that, Fred Zen asks, would you rather have a 10 millimeter Glock with 15 rounds or a 300 blackout PDW with 30 rounds? I'd go with a 300 blackout. Yeah, a rifle round's a lot better than a 10 millimeter. However, the Colt Canada C7 rifle. I never heard of that. Never heard of the Colt Canada C7 rifle. So let's see. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of people like that. Is they ask those questions a lot in a situation where, depending on the situation, I'd rather have a rifle over a pistol any day. How's it going? It's going good, Aaron. What's your thoughts on AR-15 pistols? Honestly, Ghost Man, I'm not a huge fan of AR-15 pistols. No, I haven't tried an X39 ARs, Mateo. When it comes to AR pistols, so the problem when it comes to AR pistol is you need a good length barrel. What do you think of the newest trend of 9mm 1911s? It's been around for a long time, Rise Above. It's been around for a long time. So a lot of people like them. Me, when it comes to 1911, I want 45 just because that's how it is with the 1911. But basically is, oh man, I was, sorry guys, I get distracted with all these questions. So we're wondering because my first favorite guns from Rainbow Six Siege. Oh, Rainbow Six Siege, cool. I haven't played that game. I played the original Rainbow Six when it was back on N64, and that was a cool game. But let's see. Oh yeah, what I was saying is a lot of people they're like, oh, I'd rather have a pistol with me any day of the week. A pistol is good. I think Clint Smith says it best. Clint Smith put it the best. Pistols put holes in things, rifles put holes through things, and shotguns with the right load and the right, what they said, with the right load and the right distance physically remove pieces of the human body. So I am going to quote him on that. So when it comes to any situation, I'd rather have a long gun any day. Oh yeah, I was talking about the AR pistols. I'm not a fan of AR pistols because it has such a short barrel. That you lose a lot of the accuracy when it comes to a M4 or M16. Like says, when I was in the Marine Corps, I had M16A2. All right, we carried the M16A2. Marine Corps, we got all hand-me-down stuff. We were just getting the A4s that were coming in. When I went to the National Guard, I started carrying an M4, and I wasn't a fan. M4 is great for clearing buildings and stuff like that. But when you shorten up the barrel, even that short amount that you shorten up the barrel, your accuracy in distance, when it comes to your distance and accuracy, really takes a hit. So for me, I like a full-length barrel with a full stock. So never been a huge fan of AR pistols. What is my carry gun? Today, my carry gun is my Rock Island Armory, my 1911. So going back to SIG Academy anytime soon or any classes you're looking for, I do want to go back to SIG Sauer Academy. I just have to put money aside for it. It's not cheap doing that. Yeah. Basically, is 6 Hour Academy is a great place to go if you've never trained there. And I'm in Connecticut. It's only a hop, a skip, and a jump, and a drive through Massachusetts to get there. But I haven't been there in a while because it's one is you have to get there. There's such ammo shortage. Like the average class is you have to do about 500 rounds. When I went to my first, the classes I went there was 500 rounds you had to bring. And basically is when I had when I went out there is I would have to transport that. You can actually purchase ammunition through them, but the class itself was already a couple $100 class. So I had to have a couple $100 class with 500 rounds worth of ammunition, and it was and the trip for me up there and the gas. It was it's pretty expensive. So I want to get out to 6 Hour Academy again. I really do, but it's just not in my budget right now as much as I'd love to. What's your preferred rifle caliber than pistol? My preferred rifle caliber would be a 308. That is probably my favorite rifle cartridge. It's like the jack of all trades when it comes to rifles, drop any two-legged, four-legged ammo. When it comes to pistol, my favorite caliber by far is the 45 ACP. I love the 45 ACP. So beer is always good. Do you like the Ruger SR 1911? Yes, I do. Ruger SR 1911 is actually it's a really nice 1911. It's not the prettiest of all the 1911s, but that doesn't matter because it works very well. I've heard a lot of good things when it comes to Ruger SR 1911. I haven't seen any issues. I haven't actually shot one in the past. When I used to work at the gun shop, I used to handle them all the time and stuff like that. It felt like a really good quality 1911. So, but me is when I bought my 1911. When I bought my 1911. I've said it before, when it comes to guns, if I have a gun that I don't carry, when it comes to my pistols, I get rid of it and I get something I will. That's how it is. So as much as I'd want a bunch of 1911s, I have one. And the one I have, go figure, is a Rock Island Armory. Now, I specifically chose a Rock Island Armory because I saw the prices of all the other ones. I saw the people coming in and out of the shop and whatnot. And it came down to it is pretty much I determined through what they're telling me and what I learned of that and handling the different ones that they were like, say, like a Springfield compared to Rock Island are almost the same thing. The only difference is Springfield looks a little bit nicer, looks a little bit cleaner when a Rock Island Armory isn't as, doesn't look as clean and stuff like that, or it doesn't look as smooth. And the big deal is with the Springfield Armory was $800 to $900 just for the loaded version, whereas the Rock Island one I had was like 600, almost 700 for almost everything except night sights. Then when I got it, I put my own night sights on it that I had to find, which was rough when it comes to Rock Island because the sight size were different. So we had to order certain sights, and then when I was at the gun shop, they were trying to put them on there. It took them almost an hour just to get them fitted properly for it, and it's not the perfect fit, but it works. But where they are right now, they work good. But so I went with a Rock Island because I was realizing that I was looking at all these high name 1911s and stuff like that. That honestly, when it came down to it, they all function just fine. They all function just fine. And I had an option. I could either pay like a $600 to $700 one, or I could buy a $900 to $1,000 one. I'm pretty much getting the same thing. And then this one was brown, so it was cool looking. So I'm like, I kind of like this 1911. Now the only downside to Rock Island Armory is when it comes, besides it coming in that ridiculous oil bag and just like dripping and like oozing, like oh gross. It only comes with one magazine, and it comes with the Armscore magazine. It's actually not bad. I believe it's a Metgar because it's made in Italy. If I remember, yeah, right here. Act Mag, it's made in Italy, so I assume it's probably Metgar or something like that. The only issues I've had with this is I've had the base plate fall off when I was unloading. I had the base plate fall off, but it only comes with Rock Island. Only comes with one magazine. So when I carry my 1911s, is I do have that one because it works, but usually when I carry them, I carry my Wilson Combat magazines. All right, I like my Wilson Combat; they work really good. All right, so there you have it. So all right, so we're going on 40 minutes, going up to 45 minutes here. So we are going to call it a night, guys. So it's always fun being here with you. So thanks for joining me. Tune in. I'm going to do these videos probably on Saturday. It's just easier for me to do it on Saturday evening than it is to do it on Friday evening. So at the end of every week, I try to do a video Monday, every Wednesday. Then I'll try to get a video every Saturday. And the Saturday will be like this. It'll be the live video. Monday might be a live video depending on what's going on. But usually Monday and Tuesday or Monday and Wednesday are just going to be videos like my normal videos that I do. So there you have it, guys. So thanks for joining me tonight. I hope I answered some of the questions. I saw one of the questions I answered was in here. So anyway, guys, remember, it's our responsibility to take care of each other and protect each other, guys. Peace.